And the cool thing is, look at my hand. It takes so much brain power to open my hand completely. Okay, so now it's open. Today I am messing with my forearms. During my coaching class last night, I was teaching how to do pull-ups, and we did some exercises like high, medium, and low, that sort of stuff, just holding isometric contractions, and just testing where people's weak spots were. And one of the things I kind of realized in my own coaching is I told the students that if you're in the high position, a lot of them are kind of like stuck with the bar right here at their chin, and I want them to get their chin like all the way above the bar, full contraction. And one of the cues I was trying to figure out a way to say was relax parts of your body to allow yourself to get a full contraction with the muscles that are actually pulling. So sometimes when we're in a fully contracted state and we're pulling all the way up, we are actually fighting ourselves because we haven't learned how to relax the opposing muscle groups, because they are helping stabilize in that position, but they are not relaxed enough, and they're flexing into your contracting muscles, so everything's contracting against each other. And what you need to do, let's say this is the primary mover, or your lats or your biceps and stuff, what you need to do is as you're flexing that, instead of flexing everything together, you're relaxing this side and then allowing this side to flex a little further, and that gives you a little more range of motion in your pull-up. And when I was coaching that, I was thinking to myself, I was trying to identify the pinpoints on your forearm, like forearm strength, right? Pinch strength, crimp strength, that sort of stuff for climbing. And I was thinking, like, when we flex down and we're flexing our forearm as hard as we can, there's a max contracted state. Like, I can move my forearm down, but if I'm squeezing as hard as I can, like, the muscles are as contracted as they can get. And I'm trying to think, and I don't know, but I'm trying to think if there's a way to allow a little more range of motion. Obviously, this is isometric, right? So my hand really isn't gonna like move into itself. It physically can't squeeze into itself. But even just slightly a little further, I can just pull those muscles, because like the filaments of the muscles, from what I learned, it's a really difficult, like it's all theory and whatnot. It's all, the way it looks in the textbook is like myosin and actin and all this stuff. They do this. It's like sliding filament theory. So the muscles are doing this as they contract. And let's say this is the most contracted state here, right? As I'm flexing, that's as far as they go. I just wonder if there's a way to get those to slide just a little further to amplify that grip strength. And so I didn't really, I'm gonna say I made this, obviously it's duct tape and whatnot, but I got this idea from this thing called the Pro Squeeze. This thing's a piece of crap. I was looking at like forearm trigger point therapies and stuff, just something I can leave on my arm in order to relieve pain in my forearms, and after a climbing sesh, just a way to relieve stuff. And so I was like, man, this is just a clamp, like a squeeze clamp that you would use for like woodworking or something. And it had these two like soft squishy attachments to it. And so, but the thing about this, the reason it's a piece of crap is like, look how tiny that is compared to this one, right? And so that's all it is. It's just like, I don't know why they even made their own version of this. But the thing is, like, as you actually get, I can't really show you because I already took it apart, but as you get to a certain point, this thing, like, I'm sure it'll squeeze pretty hard now, it's just plastic. But the issue is it would like bend upwards, because this piece of metal here and this plastic mechanism, I don't know what the pound test rating is, but it wouldn't squeeze hard enough, especially with these big foam pads. And so I was like, man, why don't I just take a clamp that's designed to squeeze, hundreds, if not a few hundred pounds. I don't know what the weight of this one is. Oh, here it is. Nope, just says the length of it. But this is like, there's no reason to go any heavier than something like this. So I just basically took a clamp that I already had, duct taped the pads, because they had little clips in there, and I've permanently destroyed this thing because there was little clips on the back of it, and I sand it. I used nature's natural sander and just scraped them on the concrete to get a flat edge so it would go against this. And I duct taped it. But it's kind of fun because I'm figuring out. Oh, I also put a stop on it because I didn't want it to come out, so I just put a piece of duct tape right here, basically the width of my forearm. So every time I release it, it won't go flying down, and I don't have to like pump it back together to get it to at least, you know, where I can fit my forearm in there. But the idea is to mess around with the muscles in my forearm in a semi-contracted state. I'm also testing like relaxed state. So all I'm doing is I'm putting this on my forearm here and I'm finding spots. So I actually did a test before this on the Go Arena, which is the Bluetooth enabled muscle or pulley system that you just connect a phone to and you can adjust the weight. And so I was testing each one of my fingers. And so I was testing like my pinky by itself with, I'll show you real quick. Just taking a tension campus rung. It has different, like you can use big crimps, you can use mono pockets, 2-finger pockets, and flip it around. It's got smaller edges on the back. But I was taking the mono pockets, putting my hand on a platform. So there was a platform here that would make it so only the stress was on my hand. And I was testing, so I would put a load on here, like 25, 30 pounds on my finger, and I would feel in my forearm where the tension was coming from. And what I noticed is these two fingers, your middle finger and your pointer finger, would be mostly in the middle, right on, like, you could feel the tendon go all the way down. You could feel the muscle tense right here all the way down to your elbow. And then as you get to your ring finger and your pinky, you can feel the muscles all the way on the outside of your forearm start to contract as well. And you can kind of feel it as you do that. You don't really need a mono pocket test to test that out. But the idea is to loosen and lengthen those muscles. And I don't know if this is gonna work. It feels really good from what I've been doing so far. But all I'm doing is I'm taking this thing and I am putting it, let's say I want to work on like my pinky region. I put the smaller rubber thing, soft rubber thing, and this is kind of like where the belly of your forearm goes, keep it centered. And then this is more of like the trigger point area, pinpoint accuracy. So I will take that and I'll put it on, let's say I'm trying to work on my pinky area, and I just keep squeezing, keep squeezing, and like this, the intensity of this is way, it's, I guess I could say worse because it's painful, but it feels pretty decent to put it into that area and just really squeeze. And what I'm trying to do is like mobility in my fingers and just move around and really see how it feels while my hand is in this state. And I'm just trying to get a little more length in my forearm muscles based on what I've learned through textbooks in school. And it's a doozy. And the cool thing is, like, if you have tendonitis too, which I used to have in this arm, this is great for pinpointing that one area and just digging right into where it hurts. And afterwards, you can feel all the blood rush back to that area. So I think it's kind of like pushing out all the old cells and then letting fresh new ones come into the area as well. But you can see this next thing I've been doing is I've been putting it right in the belly of my forearm. And this is kind of like the fun one. It's right in the belly. You kind of have to adjust it a little bit. It's not perfect. Obviously, I made this thing and it's just wonky as heck. But you put it right in the middle. And the cool thing is, look at my hand. It takes so much brain power to open my hand completely. Okay, so now it's open. And what I'm thinking is that's gonna lengthen those muscles in my forearm. Again, this is day one of trying this. This could end up destroying my arm. I don't think it will. It's just muscle. But if anything, the neurological connection between opening and closing my hand, because, you know, if you've ever pulled on your, or squeeze your own forearm, you'll see your hand close. This is doing that to an extreme extent. And what I'm trying to do is, under this stress, just open. And just hold here, even holding in the open position. Because if I relax, it immediately closes. But if I just, gosh, if I just keep it open, it feels really good in a like a horrible, painful sort of way. But I don't know. It's worth a test to see how it turns out, and it feels good. If you're a rock climber, you're kind of a masochist to an extent because you enjoy pain and putting yourself through pain. But this is like a good relieving type of pain. And so what I've been doing is I've just been going from one arm to the other, just putting it right in the belly. Let's see what happens if I do it on my right hand. Actually, let me see. Okay, I'm gonna hold my hand open. As I squeeze this, you see my pinky? So I'm trying to hold my hand open now. If I relax it, it just immediately closes. And that like immediate close is actually pretty painful too. So just holding my hand here. Dude, it's crazy. Like, I'm using all my brain to try to open my hand. And then once I get to that point, just hold it here. Breathe. Let it close. Even closing is just rough. I don't know. I don't know if it's doing anything. I don't know if it's good for it. I don't know, but it feels interesting. And it's worth a try to see if it'll give me the grip strength. Any improvement in my grip strength, because I think having a little more mobility, I think it'll loosen it up for sure. If anything, it's like doing stress trigger point therapy, where you take a ball or something and you lay in that area on the belly of the muscle, and it should lengthen that muscle, or at least relieve the pain. And as a climber, because I climb like 2 to 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times a week, so like 2 to 3 days a week, it's the same thing. But and you know, recovery is kind of just doing nothing with your forearms. And so I don't know if it's gonna do anything. Obviously this was made for a reason. They had probably some science backing behind it, I'm assuming, or maybe it's just for pain relief or something. So this was already made. I just made a more intense version because this thing is a little baby version, and maybe they had to keep it to a certain pound rating so people didn't do stupid stuff like this. But I think there is something to it, and it feels good. Even in a milder sense, if I just kind of like put it in a sore area, like wherever my arm is kind of sore, and just leave it in that area in kind of a mild sense, and it allows me to browse on my phone or type on a keyboard or whatever. Rather than, I used to have this, I forgot what it's called. It's like a forearm massager, but you have to close it and regulate the pressure with one hand while squeezing it on the other hand, so both your hands are taken up. And this, you just leave in that spot, and yeah, it feels really good. It'd be kind of cool to modify these and do like an actual like pinpoint, like a rubber triangle or something like that, where it has like an actual pinpoint, dense whatever that pushes directly into a trigger point, and you just relieve those spots, especially for tendonitis, because that's a big thing, is just putting that pressure right on that spot, and then I've heard allowing new blood into the area is good, and squeezing the old blood out is kind of a method to help with tendonitis. But yeah, I just wanted to share this with you because I make a lot of weird stuff for forearm training, and I did go to school for kinesiology, so I'm trying to use that general knowledge that you learn, because as a kinesiologist or an exercise scientist, I only like calling it that because you're just basically a glorified PE teacher. But you do learn some valuable stuff, like especially the basics. They harp on those a lot, which I think is important. If you are going to be a trainer, you should know the basics really well. But stuff like this, it's super unique, and it's just fun to experiment with. So I'll mess around with this and see what comes of it. But yeah, I just wanted to share this with y'all. So that's it. See ya.